everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to It Takes Two, the podcast where two people take two movies with the same plot or premise and watch and discuss them.
This episode contains massive spoilers for a movie that I don't think I'm alone in this, highly recommend watching. If you have not seen 2025 Sinners, please do not listen to this episode. Go and watch the movie. It is friggin' fantastic. This movie was spurred on by the fact that it's currently nominated for 16 Academy Awards, which is the record. So if you have not seen Sinners, please do not watch this. Listen to this episode. Watch this episode. We're currently filming you. So you have been aptly warned. In this episode, we're covering 2025 Sinners and 1996 From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, so we've both been meaning to watch Sinners for a while and hadn't gotten around to it. It got nominated for a bunch of Oscars, and then we both independently thought, it would be a good idea to watch Sinners. Nick went into it totally blind, not knowing that it is, in fact, a vampire movie.
Did not know.
And when it finished, he turned to me and with this manic look in his eyes and described the plot, and I was like, yes, that's the plot. And he was like, that's the plot of From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a movie I hadn't seen.
Yeah. And now you regret watching.
And now I am forever scarred for having seen it.
Okay, so for those who aren't up to date, people at a certain point in their careers should get off social media. Quentin Tarantino has been one of them. Paul Dano is a fantastic actor. You have no fucking clue what you're talking about, you foot fetish freak.
Also, we are Owen Wilson supporters in this house.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also enjoy Matthew Lillard as an actor.
Yeah.
So, I feel like everything he has said recently has been categorically wrong. And also, he has no qualifications to say any of it, especially considering I have now watched him as, principal cast in a movie where it is painfully obvious the man is totally incapable of even attempting to act. This was horrible because we normally watch movies. We normally watch the worst movie first, followed by the better movie. Because we didn't plan this episode, we did in fact watch Sinners, which is a cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah. Has
got fantastic cinematography. It's really well written, really well researched, incredibly well researched, to the point that you wouldn't even see on screen exactly how much research they did, but every single detail in that movie is researched. Fantastic acting, amazing music. The editing is perfect, and that incorporates both the film editing and the sound editing.
The cinematography is amazing.
Cinematography is so good. Costume design, fantastic. Yeah. VFX, incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of practical effects, and there are some CGI effects, but they try to not do any computer-generated special effects that they couldn't replicate with practical effects. So an example of that is the effect they have on the eyes, which we can talk about more in detail later, was achieved with a contact, but the actors couldn't see when they had them in. So anytime when they're moving, they've replicated the practical effect with CGI. Yeah. So that kind of thing. Genuinely one of the best movies I've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, it was great.
And then we followed it up with... I sat and internally debated throughout the movie, is From Dusk Till Dawn the worst movie we have watched for this podcast? And what I had to think about was...
Mac and Me?
No, not Mac and Me. Mac and Me is definitely above it.
Wow.
What I had to think about was The Evil Below. If anyone does not know what I'm referencing, episode 17, I believe, we did 5 films, all released in 1989, and not even the lowest rated of them was a movie called The Evil Below, which is genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Clearly had no budget. The writing makes no sense. The acting is not happening. There's like barely a performance in it. Very confusing, totally stupid movie. And that's what I was trying to compare this to in my mind, quality-wise. It's probably above The Evil Below. But I would say it's below Mac and Me. And below The Fanatic, which would be my other kind of low range of movies we've watched.
I'm going to test you right now here after you've just said that. I would like you to name 3 things you didn't like about Sinners.
3 things I didn't like about Sinners.
3 things you liked about From Dusk Till Dawn.
I don't know. I had one thing I didn't like about Sinners, and then as I researched it, or as I looked into it, and I was like, oh, actually, they did more research on this than I thought. Which was, it annoyed me that the main vampire character, Remick, has a Southern American accent, but then when he sings, he goes into an Irish accent.
Right.
Turns out that was very deliberate. He's supposed to have been born in Ireland. He vaguely references at one point Christians coming and taking his land, which means that he was born he was alive, but non-vampire in Ireland pre-Christianity coming to Ireland, so a very long time ago.
It's before that guy came over and got all the snakes out, right?
Yeah, St. Patrick. But has been living for this long and has moved to the United States, and he's putting on the American accent to seem like he's an immigrant and fits in.
Yeah.
And then slips into the Irish accent when he's distracted or angry or when he's singing. Especially when he's singing Irish folk songs, which he does sing.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. They worked with a dialect coach, had the exact specific Irish accent. He has a Kerry accent. The actor does not have that accent in real life, but his father is from Kerry. And so it was very much, he had these 2 accents and had to deliberately slip between them.
Right.
So it's not even a thing to dislike about it.
So
I don't know.
So this has turned into a job interview when you go, name one of your weaknesses, and you're like, I care too much.
What do I not like about Sinners?
I just want you to name 3 things you liked about From Dusk Till Dawn.
What did I like about From Dusk Till Dawn? I mean, I like Juliette Lewis as an actress.
Yeah.
She's fine in it.
There's 1. You got 2 more.
I like, as a stupid comedy thing, I like the guy's like gun that comes out of his crotch. I think that's funny.
Sex Machine's gun.
Yeah, I like that's.
There was a moment where he introduces himself to Juliette Lewis's character, and you were like, his name's Sex Machine, like out loud.
Yeah, that's not a thing I like about the movie. Did I like something else about it? I don't know.
The costume design of
No.
the vampires with their weird...
Oh no, it's the worst. It's genuinely one of the things I hated most about it is how the vampires looked. Especially Salma Hayek, who is literally, I think I put in my notes, the worst vampire transformation I've ever seen in any piece of media.
Do you remember what Salma Hayek's character's name is?
No, it's probably something ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
What is it?
It's Santanico Pandemonium.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything else good about it? Like, is there anything else even...
Did you like Harvey Keitel's performance? Did you like the music? I like the music. I think the soundtrack's great.
I didn't like the music. I liked the music in Sinners. That had really good music.
Yeah, the music in Sinners is friggin' fantastic.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
I do listen to Tito and the Tarantulas, which is...
It's Robert Rodriguez's band.
Yeah. Because the song that Salma Hayek dances to, I do listen to.
Doesn't he? Like, I don't even know if you can call what she does a dance. And they didn't choreograph it because they gave her a live snake.
Yeah.
And they gave her she's terrified of snakes
Yep.
And they told her to improvise a dance with this live snake on her, and they only got her to do the movie because they told her if she didn't, they'd get Madonna instead. But they weren't even trying to get Madonna, they were just trying to manipulate Salma Hayek. They also refused, they wouldn't work with they went with entirely non-union crew, and ended up in legal battles against the union because they were too cheap, even though they had more than enough budget to pay union members. Also, I hate Quentin Tarantino. And I'm sad because I didn't realize this was the infamous movie where Quentin Tarantino cast himself as a character who gets to lick Salma Hayek's foot. And I was so genuinely upset to have
Quentin
to
Tarantino
look at that.
Writes a character who gets this, that whole sequence, and then casts himself in that role so he could be the one. And all of
And then genuinely manipulated Salma Hayek into taking the role.
Yeah.
Also, he only knows one male Mexican actor, and so Cheech Marin plays 7 characters
he plays
in the movie.
3 characters. He plays the Border Patrol guy, the MC at the entrance, and the criminal guy they're meeting at the end.
Which made me like it even less, because if Cheech Marin is the guy that they're there to meet, then when they see the other 2 Cheech Marines, why do they not react in any way to the fact that this guy, they're clearly triplets with the guy that they're there to see?
Talking of triplets, I had no idea that Michael B. Jordan was playing 2 twin brothers.
I think he's good.
Yeah.
And there's a clear difference between the 2 of them.
Yeah. No, I don't even know where to start. Sinners is just such a fantastic movie. The setup to it, it's so good.
Yeah.
There is it's just hard to, there's nothing I could point out that makes this movie, there's nothing I could change. There's nothing there's nothing niggling at the back of my mind being I didn't like this, I didn't like that. The era it's set in, the fact that the whole thing was a setup, the fact that the preacher boy who basically has, and there's a lot of that within the religion that the American African American slaves brought in with voodoo, which now carries on in Haiti, and sort of how that influenced the culture so much. The food, all of that sort of thing, the giant melting pot of the South, and just how it's portrayed so well on screen. And as you said, they did a lot of research, and it really shows, because this is not a historically accurate movie by any means.
Oh yeah, it's a vampire movie.
It's a vampire movie, and also magical powers exist, which is Preacher Boy has so much skill as a musician. He warps reality, and that's what attracts these vampires, because they want to absorb that energy from them.
Well, that's not what it is. It's because the magic he can produce in the music is bringing forth spirits from the past and future, but it's connected to the people hearing the music. So you see, for example, the Chinese couple, you see their Chinese ancestors there, etc. And the main goal, it's kind of sad actually, the main goal of the principal antagonist, Remick, is that he has been alone for such a long time, and his people, the people that he loved and cared for, died, I think, at least 1,300 years before this.
Yeah.
And he wants to see them again. And if he's with Preacher Boy while he's playing the music, he'll be able to see his family again.
Yeah.
So that's actually really sad. And there is a lot. Ryan Coogler, the writer-director, really did want to kind of, without going too over the top on it, bring together this, the fact that there are similarities in the history of occupied Ireland and the history of African Americans.
Yeah.
And even in the music, some of the music that that Remick plays is African American music.
Yeah.
And some of the music that he plays is Irish music, and he plays it in quite a similar style. The song that he sings to try and convince them to let him in apparently is by an African American woman, and the right where Smoke stops him from continuing, the next verse is about her blackness.
Right.
So it's like a real kind of telling on, you know, the cultural context of the song that he's singing and how it relates to his struggles and their struggles and things like that. It's an interesting thing. Anyway, also the reason there's a Chinese couple is because there was Chinese diaspora in that area of the United States at that time. And the reason Ryan Coogler researched that is because his wife's ancestry is from Mississippi Delta Chinese.
Yeah.
And so they had done research around her family and her origins and said, well, this is the area we need to set it in.
Yeah.
That's going to have, in this time period, Chinese merchants owning these shops, Chinese American merchants, and also African Americans, and also remnants of the Ku Klux Klan, and also this relationship with Irish immigrants, you know. So it's very interesting. Just getting a kind of very accurate historical setting in as many details as possible into a movie that is a supernatural musical horror. Which is fun. But that's why it works.
Yeah. So you mentioned before, I think I put on From Dusk Till Dawn. There were Dusk Till Dawn and The Faculty were the two like inspirations for this.
The two kind of primary inspirations for Sinners, which I thought was funny because I didn't know that before you suggested From Dusk Till Dawn, and then I was having a look at trivia.
Yeah.
And I liked that he had cited it as an influence on the movie.
So the comparison between these two movies, because obviously that's the whole like plot and premise of our podcast. Both of these movies take place in basically a singular day.
Yeah.
You have the lead up to the opening of their Duke versus the Gecko brothers on the run, escaping to Mexico, meeting this guy who's going to take them to El Rey in the morning. The movie Sinners actually starts at the end of it.
Yeah.
And then it says one day later.
One day previous.
One day, yeah. And so you sort of like know what's going to happen, but you don't really know.
There's also, which I didn't actually pick up on, but I should have, is that in that opening scene, Sammy, or Preacher Boy, arrives at the church and doesn't come into the church until he's invited in.
Yeah.
So, like, if I wish I had picked up on that, because then you'd be waiting, going like, wait.
Yeah.
Does he survive the end? Yeah. I think that's a cool little addition to that scene.
Both the brothers in both these movies are criminals.
Yeah.
Smoke and Stack were in Chicago, and they're sort of like back in town again, and they're like, oh, you know, how did it go in Chicago? You know, you're back here, you said you were leaving, you're never coming back, which is quite a like used trope, but it sort of like works because then you understand there's like way more backstory to characters without having to be shown anything.
Yeah.
Allegedly, something Al Capone was mentioned at one point in time.
There's also a thing with costume design there, where Smoke wears an Irish flat cap and Stack wears an Italian trilby or fedora, and those are the two kind of rival gangs in Chicago, so they're playing both sides.
Yeah, so there's that idea that they've been playing both sides, and that's how they got money, and that's why they left.
Yep.
And they've come home. There's a lot of history, which isn't exactly... Because you get shown, it's not told to you, which is why this movie is deserving of these awards, because so many movies these days are very much like... the same with why people had an issue with the 5th season of Stranger Things. It's because TV shows and movies are now being written in a way where you can understand what the plot is happening without even watching it anymore, which is doing a disservice to people that actually watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't be like a line between the two of them.
Yep.
You know, if you want to produce mindless slop, then produce mindless slop, but don't mindlessly slop over everything else to make it worse. And you get a lot of that history coming back. Everything is like a lead up. And it is like taking a deep breath for so much of the movie and then like letting it out super slow, right? Like, and like, not even maybe through sort of like that switch.
Mm.
You know, the lead up to the third act. It's just so good. And there's no real comparison to I can think of just some other movies that I've watched recently. Like we've watched some decent movies recently.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't been starving for good movies.
No.
And like this has just been it's just so well done. Everything about it is so well done.
I said earlier that it's one of the best movies I've seen in years. I think the last time I felt that was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
So if people are looking for comparison, not that they're similar in any way really, but in terms of like looking at a film and going, wow, that's the last time I felt that, and probably before that, Arrival. Yeah, I think was because that was one that really blew me away. Arrival when I saw it first.
I think we keep talking about rewatching that, and we never do.
Yeah, we should do.
Yeah.
But so that's but we've seen a lot of good films.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of really good films.
Yeah.
But this was just like a level above.
I think I enjoyed One Battle After Another more than you did.
Yeah. But would you think Sinners is better than it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We watched Rental Family, which I highly enjoyed.
I would recommend that over One Battle After Another, but my preference.
Different types of movies, right?
Yeah.
You didn't enjoy it, but I did because I like pretty slop sometimes. You know, you got to have some junk food mixed in with, you know, you have to go to the fine art museum and then also, you know.
What is this?
Avatar.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was like, that's not... One Battle After Another is not slop.
Yeah, it's not slop. I'm saying, like...
I don't personally enjoy... I just really didn't enjoy Leo DiCaprio's performance, and that is, like, a huge part of that movie.
Not a huge part.
It is, though, but, like, I love Benicio del Toro in it, and, I can't think of the name of the actress who plays the daughter, but she was great. But you know,
best performance from Sean Penn I've seen in ever.
Hated the character, but great performance. Yeah. Yes,
that's the thing. Like, absolutely vile, and that's why you're like,
and really towing that line between comedy and kind of thriller. Yeah. With that character, absolutely despised the character. But whereas with Leo, I didn't like the performance or the character.
Have you? You said, like, we were talking about this earlier, you said that he did a really great performance in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and then he was cast as a bunch of leading, like, romantic leads, and you get Romeo plus Juliet, which we have covered for the podcast.
Yeah, he's not great in it.
Obviously Titanic, which I have personally have an issue with the story of the Titanic, because, you know, it's...
We'll get to that when we do a Titanic episode.
Is there any other, like, Poseidon adventure or?
No, it's another. There's another movie about the Titanic.
Okay.
I think it's called A Night to Remember. Is that right?
What about the Italian mice movies?
Those ones will compare to each other.
The Spirit of Titanic and the Titanic.
It's the Legend of the Titanic and Titanic: The Legend Goes On.
Yeah.
Which are not connected to each other or sequels. They're two entirely separate movies that are both animated movies about mice on the Titanic. And that's for a different day.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's just... It's really well done. Like, that is a kind of movie that I would be like... It's not the sort of thing... It's like eating a really, really good meal. You don't go back to the restaurant the next day, but you do plan ahead 6-9 months later and go, I want to do this
Yeah.
again.
That's the thing is that when Sinners came out first, I heard a lot of people say it instantly became a classic.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And now I get it. Having watched it, I'm like, yeah, you could watch this once a year. You know, this could be like, my big Halloween movie is Sinners. You know, if local cinemas decide to rerun Sinners at Halloween, I'd be going, hey, do you want to go see Sinners?
And I'd be like, let's yes, book tickets, let's go. What are we having for dinner?
There was I think it was Monterey Cinemas out in Upper Hutt did a sing-along Sinners.
Sing-along singers.
So I was expecting to have more musical numbers than it did, but you could still sing along. There's a few.
It's there are no negative points. No. And because of that, I think we've focused so much time on it. In comparison, From Dusk Till Dawn, you know, plot's there. It's very similar. Criminal Brothers.
So Criminal Brothers, and they're headed to I was gonna say a club, I guess, and one of them it's a juke joint and it's a blues bar, and the other it's called the Titty Twister.
Yeah,
and it's a strip club.
Yeah,
and it's full
of vampires.
I was gonna say the big difference between these movies, as if there's not loads of differences. The big difference is that in From Dusk Till Dawn,
the bar itself is a trap.
Yes, the bar itself is a trap in the other one as well, but it's a trap by the Ku Klux Klan who aren't coming till the next day.
Yeah.
And don't know about the vampires. No, it's that everyone working in the bar is a vampire.
Yeah.
And then the guests coming in
are the victims.
In Sinners, the people working in the bar, and most of the guests are the victims, but it's guests coming in who are the vampires, and they're trying to get the permission to come in so that they can then unleash and turn or kill everything.
You know the thing that I found funny, right, is there's a sequence in Sinners where I kind of agree with what the vampire's saying. And I've been like, oh, that sounds like reasonable.
Yeah.
Please don't bite me in a way where it makes my permanent appearance all screwy.
Yeah.
Because all the other people that get gnawed on in the face, the next scene they're all grotesque. And you're bite a calf muscle, I don't wear shorts.
Whereas Haley Steinfeld gets just a little bite on her shoulder, right, and then is still beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I think you're supposed to kind of realize that actually the vampires don't necessarily, they're not necessarily, evil in the sense that you would expect.
Yeah.
Because the vampires in From Dusk Till Dawn are just trying to
eat
people. I mean, they do turn some of them, but there's they've got a guy turned into a guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. It was just a corpse cut up and shaped into a guitar.
It was a scene where it all goes nuts, and you have Salma Hayek with the horrible transformation, and everyone's going nuts, and then the band's still playing as the people in the bar are getting ripped to pieces, and heads and stuff, and arms and legs are going flying everywhere, and you see the main cast fighting vampires at one at a time, and then you were just like, what the why? And they were just playing human guitars, and you're like, how did they get them?
Yeah, they was there in an instant.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But in Sinners, again, it's this community thing, or this kind of shared, to some extent, shared history. Not shared history in the sense that they had it at the same time in the same place, but in that the history is similar of this Irish immigrant and these African Americans in the 1930s, and the fact that he's just turned to Ku Klux Klan members, but made them. He does the pluribus thing of the shared, a hive mind, so that they now think like him, and he's like, we can join together and be a family and be united here. And like I said, his main goal is to be able to see his living family again, which isn't really a very much of a villain goal. As opposed to, you know, the secondary antagonist whose goal is to kill a bunch of black people.
Yeah.
And in fact, you know, when they buy this barn that they're turning into their bar, they remark on the fact that the floor has been recently cleaned, which implies that he's doing this multiple times. That he's just sold it to some other black people, pocketed their money, killed them, and then sold it again. You know, and he turns up all ready to just destroy them the next morning. So the vampire is making sense to some extent. And you get to like really go, oh, you know, is it bad? And then that kind of comes around in the end, spoiler, when you realize that Stack and Mary are still alive and have been living for 60 years as vampires and seem to be relatively happy. Though Stack agrees with Sammy that the happiest day of his life was that day before the sun went down, which is sad because then, you know, it's kind of bittersweet. But they get to be together. In a way that they couldn't really be as themselves.
The chemistry between each of the characters and that shared history they have that is just like sort of hinted at, and you know, the rejection of it. It's so good and it's so sprinkled out within, like, you don't realize until like the next morning that the other reason, the grave he visited in the beginning was his daughter's, because you're just like, oh, it's just like some random grave that he's visiting.
Oh, I mean, I assumed it was his child.
Yeah, it's not told.
Oh yeah, they don't tell you, but he gets flowers and he goes to just like a little rock on the ground with a child's handprint on it, and you know, and then you're introduced to Annie, who it's clear was his lover. She's kind of everything to him. Because she's very maternal towards him as well, but she's also clearly his lover. She was obviously the mother of his child. She's kind of the voice of reason to him. She's also protecting him. Even like she gives him, because she has got some kind of magic abilities. Which was done really well with the editing, because obviously she's got all these like kind of potion things. She's just like the you know, fortune telling with bones or whatever. But there's a moment where she talks to him, and I was like, "Whoa, what is happening?" Where the whole camera focus shifts. So like everything behind her goes totally out of focus. She goes into real crisp focus, and it kind of like almost vibrates. And her voice is edited to be really deep. I can't even remember exactly what she said, because I was just so taken aback by that editing choice that you're just like, oh, this is a person who like has some genuine power.
The closest thing you said was like when Gandalf speaks black speech.
Yeah, that's what it felt like when Gandalf speaks the black speech of Mordor. In Rivendell, and Elrond face palms. It was that kind of like total tone shift, and then he says something to her and she visibly relaxes, and then everything goes back to like normal, and I was like, okay. But she like gives him like a talisman then that later on stops smoke from biting him. And it's like, oh, there's like proper protection magic in here. Also, she's the only person with any sense initially when the vampire stuff starts happening. To the point that like when she sees, because essentially the first person to turn is Mary, because she wanted to believe the best in these white folk who are trying to come in, and goes out to talk to them. And then she does like realizes that she's messed up, but doesn't make it back without being bitten, and then she turns Stack. But when Annie sees that Stack has been bitten, even though there's been no mention of the existence of vampires before this moment, she's like, we need to keep everyone inside, and we need to put that body outside. And they think she's insane and won't do it. Everyone goes out, the body stays in. Those are the worst decisions that happen. Besides, actually, number one bad decision is Mary going out. But like, she's the one who's like immediately goes, oh no, this isn't good. I think that's cool. In From Dusk Till Dawn, Salma Hayek does this horrible transformation that's with the worst CGI in the world. Like she turns into like a 1997 video game character, and then everyone is like, "Oh, it's vampires! Let's start getting the legs off tables and staking them."
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, okay." Everyone's just instantly accepted that. Even like George Clooney's character Seth Gecko is like, "I don't believe in vampires, but these are vampires." And you're like, "Okay, cool."
It is. There is a sequence, and I find obviously it's to save on budget, it's to save on a few things, but like it is from a tactical point of view, because I'll just sort of talk about when they come out, like everybody else gets killed, Sex Machine gets killed. I never remember the other guys. We've seen him in movies, by the way. He's in some of the Action Peter Z movies.
That didn't shock me.
Yeah, Fred Williamson, when Frost gets killed, and they sort of like, Harvey Keitel's character gets bitten and they retreat back into the storeroom. And their response to like kill all the vampires is not to have a bottleneck and to go into a giant open square. And from like a tactical point of view, it is ridiculous. And they split up so they're not protecting each other's backs and just like fighting one vampire at a time so they can get the sequences down. And I understand it from a filmmaking point of view why that would have been way more easy.
Yeah.
And it does remind me a little bit of the throne fight scene from one of the recent Star Wars movies where like the actors and their beats have to like literally spin off stage, like out of the frame. Because then you realise that Rey and Kylo aren't good fighters and can't fight 6 people at the same time.
Also, one of the reasons for what you're talking about is also that they only had the budget to have 6 full vampire costumes.
Yeah.
So it's just the same vampires getting killed over and over again.
Yeah. Where you find in Sinners, because they were in the military and they look like they were, because of their dog tags, probably World War One.
Yeah, they're World War One vets.
Which obviously they've got a lot more tactical mindset about it, and it's really, that sort of like standing in a line and fighting as one group makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Obviously the screw up of them being just like, well then come and get us because.
They're trying to stop her from saying it.
Yeah.
But also the vampires were provoking her to say it.
Yeah.
It's also introduced really early on in the movie that Smoke is the brother with more sense.
Yeah.
Because he tasks Sammy with watching Stack's back.
Yeah.
Because he says Stack doesn't know how to watch his own back.
Yeah.
Which obviously then is why Stack is one who gets turned.
Yeah.
Whereas Smoke, he doesn't believe the vampire stuff immediately, but he's also in shock and grief, having just lost his brother.
Yeah.
But when Cornbread wants to come in, and he asks them to let him in, or, to invite him to I can't remember what way he says, "Oh, can I come in?" or something, and then it's Annie is like, "Wait, why do you need us to tell you can come in?" And you see Smoke go like.
Yeah.
Wait a second, and you have this interaction between Annie and Cornbread, but then Cornbread is just kind of dismissing her and turning to Smoke because he thinks, I can get this guy, and then he's like, "You've been in and out of here all night. Why now do you need
permission?"
So it's like it's introduced to us very early on. This guy knows how to look after himself and look after his brother. This guy is more of a wild card, but also doesn't know how to watch his own back. Then it actually plays out that way. I
always liked that, because I, over the years, have consumed a ridiculous amount of vampire media.
Yeah.
From reading, I think, almost all of Anne Rice's books. And, every vampire movie from Dusk Till Dawn to Underworld to 30 Days of Night. there is not some vampire media I have not ingested over the time. And we both really enjoy What We Do in the Shadows, both the original movie and the TV show that was made.
I was very reluctant to watch the TV show for a long time.
And then we watched like a couple of episodes.
Because it just annoys me that
it was
Americans like to just take things that are very... Because What We Do in Shadows, the movie, is very localized.
Yeah.
It's very Wellington, it's very New Zealand. And then to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a show out of that set in Staten Island or whatever. And you're like, why?
Yeah. I really like that whole concept of they can't enter without being invited.
Yeah.
Because it plays into where the fear of vampires come from. And it is that stranger in the night, and it is the seduction part. And it is because it was very much a Nosferatu as well, that sort of primal essence of it all. But just the concept that there is a monster out there and it has to convince you to let it in.
Yeah. And how easily it can do it.
Yeah. And I always really, really liked that, and you don't really see it that often anymore. Like, they played around with it in Buffy and Angel a little bit, but it wasn't sort of the same thing.
There's a very funny joke I've seen online, and I'm not going to be able to remember it, which is terrible, but it's along the lines of, like, two vampires show up at someone's house and then, knock on the door and he talks to them and he's like, oh, I don't want you to turn me over. They're like, no, that's a common misconception about vampires. And they talk to him like, Mormons or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I didn't realize that. And they're like, oh, we can tell you more. Maybe we come in?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
You almost got me there. That's just, it was a really nice touch. The fact that their transformations were quite... Subtle, but unhuman.
They get the kind of cat's eye night vision.
What I found beautiful and was so gorgeous, the effects that were done, the reflections, because they looked like predators in low light.
Yeah.
Which is that hint of like, oh no, these are actually predators.
Yeah.
The fact that each of them got different eye colors, so it wasn't just like the standard like, oh yep, here's the vampire contacts, put them in.
Yeah.
Here's your weird forehead and nose makeup, get out there, kid. Like,
yeah, and it wasn't really changed their face, except that obviously the ones that were, like you mentioned, people who were maimed in the turning process kept those injuries.
It was just so it's so subtle but so good in comparison to From Dusk Till Dawn, where they're just
it's so over the top.
Yeah,
and they all look terrible.
It's like Sex Machine when he gets his head ripped off and then turns into a giant dog.
Yeah,
but it's like a dog rat.
It's like a weird dog rat.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. There's no reason for him to have turned into that.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
And also, because none of the other ones did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, oh, we need to put a boss battle halfway through this movie.
As someone who is a connoisseur of vampire media, where do these films rank?
From Dusk Till Dawn has nostalgia.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the biggest issue for me, is rewatching it in comparison to Sinners, which basically have the same plot.
Yeah.
It is nostalgia berries. It is that me and my friends, because it came out in 96.
Yeah.
So that would have been me and my friends being able to rent or buy this, watching it late night on television, when doing sleepover hangouts in mates' garages and cottages that we that used to go over and stay, or you'd camp out in the lounge of somebody's house with blankets and snacks and things.
So where is it on your ranking of vampire movies?
I'm getting to it. So there is some nostalgia behind it.
Yeah.
But it does rank incredibly low now, because it just obviously, and this is why I mentioned it earlier, people need to stay off social media, because
right.
For me, I always held Quentin Tarantino's movies with a high regard, because they were so different, they were so edgy, they were so in your face, that loud 90s to 2000 thing, you know, when he used to go on media and, you know, you'd get some person on the actual news side being like, why do you encourage violence? Why do you do this? He's like, no, I'm just showing you stuff that, like, what I like, what I'm into.
Yeah.
There is no expectation of you to see my movie. I'm just making the movie for people who want to watch this. And I agreed with that. So in comparison, there is some old school cool with some of the old vampire movies. I haven't watched the Interview with the Vampire TV show because I feel like it just doesn't match up to the Tom Cruise Brad Pitt movie and never will.
It's supposed to be pretty good from what I've heard.
But there's also there's a bunch of other things from it, like it's in the bottom half. And Sinners is definitely in the top 5.
Is there anything above Sinners?
I don't. I would have to rewatch it. I really like Queen of the Damned.
Right.
But it's more because I was really into the music at the time, like that entire genre. Like, I remember buying it on CD. I was one of those people who used to walk around with, like, very antisocial back in the day before it became normal and everybody had a music player in their phone, where even at school and stuff, and when I was at secondary school.
What we used to do was you'd have... Well, it was when MP3 players came out.
Yeah, so this is
prior to
before,
MP3 players, we couldn't really do this, but what we used to do is you'd have an MP3 player in your skirt pocket, and then you'd have your headphones up through your jumper, and you'd put a hole through the jumper so you could put one earphone out and... Yeah.
See, I always did it with it was like over my shoulder, down my back, and into my pocket. And that's why I always wore like big baggy pants because the
well, we had to wear uniform.
Yeah, the CD player could fit inside my pocket.
Yeah, when I had the CD Walkman, I used to wear dungarees and use like the big CD Walkman pocket, or the CD Walkman pocket. That's what it was designed for. Yeah. No, the big front pocket and the dungarees for my CD Walkman. And like, but that couldn't have happened at school. Yeah. But yeah, I used to like walk around with my CD Walkman listening to. And my bag was
always filled. I think it's literally like a meter away from me. There's a CD case, and you'd buy a new CD, and you take the CD out of the case, and you put that in the.
Yeah, we used to have a whole load of those until my older brother brought them to someone's house one day. That was like an hour out of Dublin or something, and then got the bus back and left all of them on the bus and lost all my dad's CDs.
That's. Not good. No. Not ideal.
No. No one has ever forgotten that this happened.
Because it was like a thing. Like there were so many music stores around. There were so many places you just go and buy. You know, like I remember when albums came out, there were DVDs of like the live when they were like performing in different places that would come out.
We used to have one of those cases full of video games as well.
Yeah. I think the only, other than that one, which is just an artifact of its time, I think the only other one I've got is a collector's box set of an entire series of a show that, because it was a collector's box set and made more in a appearance manner than like a functionality, it started falling to pieces, which is why I took all the DVDs out of it and put it in another case. But other than that, I'm could be 1, could be 2. I don't know. It's definitely
so pretty high on the list.
Yeah.
I thought you'd put Lost Boys up there as well.
Your Lost Boys is definitely in the top 5.
Yeah. I know you're a Lost Boys fan.
Yeah, it was so funny. Me and Lisa, there used to be a thing we could go to every month, which was basically a blind movie you'd just walk into and you have no clue what the movie was, except maybe the genre. The person who used to put them up used to do a blurred poster, sometimes the main poster, sometimes an alternative poster, and because of life and time frame, they weren't able to do it most of some of the time. And literally the opening sequence within 5 seconds, I was like, yes, from the front of the cinema.
Yeah, it was like 1 second into it. You were like, yeah.
Yeah.
The only other time I think he did that was when it was Big Trouble in Little
Oh,
China.
yeah, I had the most goofy smile and I'm staring at you because I'm like, yes, I wanted you to watch this movie for ages and there's no way I could pin you down to watch this because it is like that schlocky 80s over-the-top action, racist as hell, like, movie.
Do you have What We Do in the Shadows ranked high on your vampire list?
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Very different, obviously, but it's very good at really pulling different vampire tropes.
Yeah.
I do like
that. Because I think the way they did What We Do in the Shadows is very much along the lines of different vampires of different era. Like different genres of vampires.
And you've got one who's clearly supposed to be Orlok and Nosferatu. Yeah. You've got one that's clearly supposed to be like...
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah. One that's clearly supposed to be like from Lost Boys. Yeah. One that's supposed to be the kind of 1990 Bram Stoker's Dracula era. Yeah. And then you've got the modern Twilight-y vampires. So it's very funny that they do pull these... they're not only referencing different eras in time, but referencing... specifically different depictions of vampires throughout history. I was going to say, I do like that in From Dusk Till Dawn, when they get themselves away from the vampires, but they're kind of locked in, they're like, okay, what do we know about vampires? And they start listing things off, and then they're like, wait, silver? Is that vampires or is that werewolves? And then Harvey Keitel's character, Jacob, is like, now, are any of these from books people have read about real vampires, book. Or are these just things you've picked up from movies? And I think that's very funny.
Yeah.
But also Sinners does play into a bunch of tropes.
Yeah.
Because you do obviously have the silver thing in that, they don't have reflections. There's, a huge part of it is this... need to be invited in to be able to enter a property.
Yeah.
And then there's also the sunlight thing, which is, the kind of end game in both of these movies really is sunrise, which is why they kind of basically take place in one day in both movies.
That is it's one of the funniest moments of that entire movie.
Which one?
From Dusk Till Dawn, when you get that end sequence of them, it's just George Clooney and Juliette Lewis left alive, and the dawn's coming, and he's like, she's like, do I save the last 2 bullets for us? And he's like, no, just on the next person who tries to bite you. And they're in a circle, and there are all the vampires leaning out at them, and then the sun's coming up, so she tells her to shoot more holes, and then obviously his mates turn up, and they blast a hole through the door, and they get out, and then the light hits a disco ball, and it starts spinning around and blowing them up. But it's the scene where he asks them, where just they're outside, just explaining what happened, and he's just like, what were they, psychos? It's like, they were vampires. Psychos don't explode when light touches them. I don't care how crazy they are. And it's just that's such a funny line to me.
Also, the exploding thing makes no sense. I don't know why any of them explode at any point in it, but the one that makes the least amount of sense is that she shoots her brother who has just been bitten and hasn't turned yet. And she shoots him with a regular gun and he explodes and all the vampires around him explode. What? Why?
He carved crucifixes into the bullets. That's
so that's literally it. There's crucifixes in the bullets, and therefore he explodes. But he hasn't even turned yet.
Yeah. It's not.
But that moment does mirror Smoke killing Annie in Sinners, because she gets bitten, she hasn't turned yet, and she asks him to kill her, and that's what the kid does in From Dusk Till Dawn. Obviously, a lot more emotional in Sinners than it is in From Dusk Till Dawn, where she blows up her brother and doesn't seem to even care that it's happened.
Yeah. There's a lot of weirdness going on. I'd forgotten about Let the Right One In.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That is good. And we'll have to do that at some point because there's an American remake.
Yep.
Stupidly.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely an American remake.
I've seen both, and I don't think the American remake is bad, but I don't understand why it needed to happen, especially so soon after the original.
Yeah.
Here's my plea to American audiences. Learn to read subtitles. And then you don't need to make a bad version of a movie so that you can watch it in English. You can just read the subtitles.
Because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know what it is. It's definitely a horror movie. It's from the era of found footage, like first person, like someone's carrying in a video camera. Yeah. Record or a rec. Because there is Quarantine. Yeah. So I'm assuming that's somewhere on our list as well. But Ring and Ringo, which we've already covered.
We'll do The Grudge and Ju-On.
Yeah. It's one
There's
of those
a lot
things.
of them. There's one that's really annoyed me recently that I haven't watched, but it came out like within a year, which was that when I was living in Australia, I went to see a movie in the cinema. I had a local cinema that was like a 5-minute walk from where I was living. So I went to cinema quite regularly and often to see movies that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And I went to see this Danish film called The Guilty, and I just found it to be a really well-written, well-done film. Very, like, it's mostly one room. Yeah. One of those kind of films. Incredible. And then they remade it a year later in America with Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm like, I like Jake Gyllenhaal. And it looks like it's got high production quality. But why did it need to be made? Yeah. It's on our list to do at some point. So I'll finally, eventually watch that version. But, like, literally this movie was fantastic. Just show that in America. They showed it in Australia. Yeah. Just show it in America. You don't need to make an American version of it to be able to show it in America. Like, are they incapable of showing non-American films in America? Because even we did Death at a Funeral. Yeah. Which is a British film. It's in English. Yeah. It's literally in English. You don't need to make it American and put Chris Rock in it or whoever. You know, like...
It's very funny they cast Peter Dinklage in it twice, though.
Yeah. But literally, I don't understand. Can someone listening to this who's in America explain to me, like, do you have some kind of embargo on watching films that weren't made in America? Like, do theaters refuse to put on non-American films? Is that a thing that happens?
I don't know if it's that to the point of maybe just the fact that it goes back to that thing about what we were talking about the other day, which annoys the hell out of both of us, but apparently is like the new thing, and is the way they are taught with trailers to movies, and you go into a movie to watch a movie. You go into the movie theater to watch a movie, and you get trailers at the beginning, which for those little history lesson, trailers used to come after the movie. That's why they're called trailers. You don't put a trailer in front of your car. The editing and the content of them these days is getting worse. Yeah. And it's giving away a large percentage of the plot. Yeah. To the point where, for me, as a person who can put 1 and 2 together to make 3, I pretty much know exactly what's going to happen in these movies.
Yeah, and then you don't want to watch it
anymore. You don't want to watch it anymore. And apparently there's a bunch of psychological things going on in the background of people not liking surprises, people feeling like twists are like watching and realizing something's happening is like you're in on a secret. And it's like, I went into Sinners blind. Yeah. That may have been the best movie of 2025 that I've watched. Yeah. Clearly it is, because 16 nominations.
Yeah, and I double-checked how many it was eligible for, and it was only eligible for 16 categories. So it literally got nominated in every category it possibly could get nominated in.
Yeah, and it's just, I had no idea. I had seen some clips of the movie, not like actual clips, but
I will say also that, like, I didn't know a lot about it. Yeah. I knew that there were vampires and that it was a musical. Those were the things I knew that you didn't know. Yeah. But that was it. And I'm glad I didn't know what the plot actually was, because I think it was very cool to see that.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by the song that Sammy sings that does bring all these spirits in from different, eras, both before and after the era they're living in. I was like, whoa, okay. And the way they did those effects was very cool.
Yeah. All of it was very cool.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I hope it wins a significant amount, if not all of its, Oscars that it's nominated for. Well deserved, honestly.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Yep.
From Dusk Till Dawn 3.
Hang on, there's sequels?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It is the first time Temuera Morrison was in a Hollywood movie.
Oh, well, that's sad, because From Dusk Till Dawn uses cultural appropriation of his culture.
Yeah. It's very funny to me. Oh, there was a sequel to 30 Days of Night. I did not know that. Texas Blood Money is what the second one's called, by the way.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
God, that was a bad movie. Oh, I'm just sad thinking about it.
Here's the positive note of it. Here is the positive note. Because it was so similar to Sinners, we were actually able to record this episode.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The plot...
So we wouldn't be able to talk about this, how great Sinners is, if there wasn't From Dusk Till Dawn.
Very true. Yeah, the plot is definitely very similar, even if it's executed immaculately in one film and horribly in another.
Yeah.
And I will say, I, categorically do not like anything Quentin Tarantino does or says.
Yeah.
I did enjoy Reservoir Dogs, but that's it. But I will say that I do normally enjoy Robert Rodriguez stuff more than Quentin Tarantino stuff, so I was definitely willing to give this a chance as a Robert Rodriguez film.
Yep.
Sadly, it was
written by Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, I was going to say, sadly, that was hindered by the fact that Tarantino both wrote it and starred in it.
Yeah.
And as we know, Quentin Tarantino don't do good at write or act.
Yeah.
So, God, he's just really bad at acting. I don't think he's capable of acting.
What else has he been in other than Reservoir Dogs?
He's mostly just like in small.
Yeah, he's like a cameo in his own movies, right?
Yeah, so this is the most I've seen him on screen, and it was just a horrible experience. I just hated every second I could see him.
Because he's also super gross.
And he wrote himself to be a rapist.
Yeah.
And for everyone else to be okay with the fact that he's a rapist.
He also plays a rapist in the Grindhouse movie he did. Not Death Proof.
Planet Terror?
Planet Terror.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean...
Maybe he's trying to tell us something.
I was going to say, this is the thing. When someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
That's the line, right? If someone tells you who they are, or someone shows you who they are, believe them.
So, do we want to move on to some trivia?
We can, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
box office kind of doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we'll talk box office. I did cover some of the trivia already, so let me kind of skim through this. Most of the musical performances in Sinners were recorded live on set, with cast members performing alongside blues musicians. I don't think I took this down, but I did read that the actor who... I don't think I've even taken his name up. The actor who plays Sammy did learn to play guitar for the role. Oh, right. Or learn to play blues guitar. Maybe he could play guitar but not blues. And also it's his first film. So what a fantastic performance for a first film. Yeah. So Ryan Coogler... Oh yeah, I thought this was really cool. Because this is... we've talked about how he mentioned that From Dusk Till Dawn and The Faculty were inspirations for the film. The character of Remick, the main vampire, was partially inspired by the character of Death in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Which is, if people haven't seen that, genuinely an incredible film, and largely because of how frightening the antagonist is. So I totally see that. I can understand. And like that, it is very much a kind of a predator thing. So Michael, I've got some stuff about Michael B. Jordan, and how he dealt with the differences between the twins. So they're World War I veterans who are returning to Mississippi after years working in Chicago. So Michael B. Jordan said, in scenes where they both appear, he had to know exactly how his brother would deliver the lines. So he'd work. So they had a body double on set, but he would work with that double and direct him on what he would do in the scene, so that the body double could do that and he could have that performance to react off.
Right.
Which meant that like the first brother to be filmed in a scene would be the one that would kind of lead it, because then Michael B. Jordan got to kind of redo the scene reacting to his own self. So whichever brother he started as would set the rules of the blocking and the coverage and the camera angles, things like that. So it was a thing they had to kind of work out in real time. And they consulted with people who had done similar work with, for example, The Prestige and a couple of other films that have kind of body doubles in them. I did say already that there were actual physical contact lenses that were used for the eyes, but then anytime someone's walking or moving, they're digital. So they really wanted, their main goal with visual effects was to never have anything that was made up, that everything that they had in the film, there's a physical equivalent for anything that they create digitally.
Yeah.
Because they really wanted to make sure it felt like it was grounded in reality. And the vampire's eyes were based on an effect called tapetum lucidum, where the back of the retina reflects light, and then they boosted it a bit, and in the digital eyes, but they're based on the lenses where they could actually create that effect.
Yeah.
And then I did already talk about the song that Remick sings being a blues song that was written by a black woman, and it's purposely so that the first time the main cast are introduced to him, he's already appropriating their culture.
Right.
Which is an interesting thing to consider there. For From Dusk Till Dawn, I didn't take down a lot. Something I just touched on a minute ago is that George Clooney came up with the idea for Seth to have a tattoo because he just saw Once Were Warriors.
Right.
So that is cultural appropriation. That is literally, he got like a Maori cultural tattoo painted on him for this movie.
It's not close. That's like tribalism.
Oh yeah, but it was because he had just watched Once Were Warriors.
Yeah. And he's just like, that's cool, I want that on me.
Yeah, so not a good guy.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. The line, "No thanks, I've already had a wife," was improvised by George Clooney. Robert Rodriguez didn't want it to be in the final cut, but the studio had included it in a trailer, and then he felt obligated to keep it in the film.
Right.
Which, to me, makes little sense, because there's so often that there's things in trailers that aren't in the final
Rogue
film.
One was like criticized massively for that, because there was a bunch of like scenes that were in the trailer that never end up in the movie.
Yeah,
And
it happens so often, because there'll be things from like early cuts, or like the film hasn't been cut together yet and the person making the trailer has to put something together. An infamous one for me is National Treasure 2 has like an entirely different plot in the trailer. And you're like, wait, hold on, excuse me, what? That is like the page that they scan where they're supposed to find something out, like, has the seal of the Book of Secrets on it, and you're like, no, that's not how they get to the Book of Secrets. It's got nothing to do with that page. But it was obviously in some early draft of the films, and it's in the trailer, and you're like, wait a second, that's totally not what happens in this movie. I've already kind of mentioned that there were only 6 full body vampire suits, so the same 6 actors play all of the vampires that get killed over and over and over. But also in some shots they had dummies in the background for vampires that exploded. There were puppets used for some, and also cardboard cutouts behind the vampires to make it seem like there were more vampires.
Yeah, there's just sequences where there's just like...
Just literally cardboard cutouts.
No, there's literally sequences where you have like a 1v1, and then like there's just like other vampires running back and forward behind the other person.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's 4 people in this room and like clearly like dozens of you.
Yeah.
But you're like fighting them 1v1 like a...
Yeah,
it's
because
so
there's
silly.
only 6 of them.
Yeah, it's so silly.
I guess if they
you
don't
imagine
need to
that in
realize
Lord of the
it's-
Rings.
Yeah.
You imagine that in Lord of the Rings where there was only 6 orcs, so they were like...
I mean, the equivalent in Lord of the Rings, they did do this.
Yeah.
Which is when Saruman is committing a crime and doing deforestation in Fangorn Forest.
Yeah, they just cut the same tree down.
They only built one tree that was on a hinge to fall down.
Yeah.
So they just show it from like a bunch of different angles, the same tree going down and then being put back up and then coming down and being put back up and coming down again. Also for Minas Tirith, they only built one street.
Yeah.
So every time Gandalf rides like the whole way up Minas Tirith, but they just shoot from different angles of him going on the same street again. But I feel like it's done well in that.
Yeah.
And not necessarily done well in From Dusk Till Dawn. I do want to mention budget and box office.
Okay.
The budget for Sinners was $90 million.
Right.
And it made $368 million
so far
in box office. So far in box office.
Yeah.
For From Dusk Till Dawn, the budget was $19 million, and the box office was $25 million. So it did make a profit, but it didn't make the double, which is the goal usually.
The other thing is that because it was from that era, the DVD sales.
Oh yeah, DVD sales
would
would
have been massive.
Yeah.
Because that's how Firefly got Serenity, is because the DVD sales of Firefly earned more than the TV show playing on show.
Here's the thing, you were talking about DVD sales of a movie from 1996.
Yeah.
I think you mean the VHS sales would have been.
That too, yeah. But that was
it
the
was
thing.
then produced on DVD, because I was going to say you own it on DVD. We own it.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Yeah.
I don't want to own it. It's your DVD.
I see how it is. The movies you don't like, I do, but I own.
I mean, most of our DVDs you own.
Yeah, because that was a whole era as well. It was like everybody had you'd go over to somebody's house and they had VHSs, and then technology moved forward, and then you go over to somebody's house and they all had DVDs.
Yeah.
But they also still had VHSs. They were just in a box in the basement because what else are you gonna do?
No,
with
we
them?
had them in a bookcase in our parents' bedroom.
There you go.
They're still there, I think.
And then Blu-rays came out, and I started slowly replacing my DVDs.
We got 3 Blu-rays, I think, and then didn't get any more. I know I had Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along blog on Blu-ray.
Okay.
But I think that's the only Blu-ray I personally ever owned.
Yeah.
Except I now own The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which my dad bought me on Blu-ray for Christmas a couple of years ago.
That's ours.
That's ours because you like it, so it's ours.
That's
My dad got me that for Christmas.
And then there's one up from that, but being that I only have one player and that player is behind me, and here we don't have it in
the 4K Ultra HD.
Yeah. Both of our TVs are 4K.
Yeah, but the PlayStation 4 is not.
Yeah.
We just need a Blu-ray player that's going to play 4K Ultra HD.
I'm just going to get a PS5 Pro, which is the one up from the one I've got. And then
we're going to have 2 PS5s.
Yeah. And then
we don't need 2 PS5s.
And then put that PS5 out there and the PS5 Pro in there. No, I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Or at all, maybe.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed Sinners, or you didn't follow my instructions and listen to this episode without seeing it, please share it with somebody else. Like the vampires, it's all about sharing and becoming one hive mind. Gotta share.
If you think From Dusk Till Dawn is a better movie than Sinners, then
unsubscribe.
Put your address on our Discord so I can come fight you. No, we'd love to hear your opinion and on why, but I don't think you could convince me.
Yeah.
At all.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please go to our website, ittakes2.co.nz. You can join our mailing list. You can join our Discord. You can find us on social media. As I said earlier, please share. There is a page on our website that allows you to give somebody where to start, which is a fantastic new feature that Lisa spent hours on. And I really appreciate you listening to us ramble about one fantastic movie and one movie that is from an era that needs to be buried. with a stake in his heart.
Yes. We need to put a stake in Quentin Tarantino's heart. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.